What's up, Eagle Army? It's the Biz here again. Today we're going to be talking again about mulch. But today, as you can see, I have toys. What are these toys for, to Biz? Well, you might wonder. Well, I'm not turning all this crap by hand. And as you can tell, oh, there's some little guys hiding. You know, I already dug down a foot. I'm not moving all that by hand. So what are you going to use these for? And why would you? Well, first, all I have is a simple shovel. Frankly, it's not really useful. Mulch. And we'll see why. Because a shovel is not meant to use with very loose, uncompacted material like this. It's easy when I get on top, but once I get lower in to this pile, it becomes a little harder to manage larger bulk. And as we can see, I don't get mulch on this. This does not give me a ton of surface area to work with. So in the other video, we saw that I have an entire 22 foot line mulch. This not gonna make it. But this is a little better. This is what's called a bedding and mulch fork. Why do you want one of these? Well, it gives you more area, surface area, just barely. If we overlay them together, see that the shovel is about 80% of what it actually looks like from the mulch fork. So it's not a ton, but what's important is the tying pattern. With this open pattern right here, it allows larger groups of debris to be collected without much effort. As we can see, that's a much bigger pile than one I grabbed with the shovel. It's much easier, plus it's much easier to move larger bulk than with a shovel, because these are called pitchforks for a reason, because I can just pitch it more easily than I saw a gun than I could with a shovel. Shovels are meant for digging, not for throwing, not for tossing. This mulch fork is built for moving and throwing. Of course, then I got this big old boy, which looks just like the other one, because in fact, it's the exact same thing effectively. However, as you can see, the larger fork here on bottom has, what is that? 30% more volume, 25% more volume than this mulch fork, or mulch. What kind of fork is this? This is called an ensilage fork, or a big manure fork. That's all it really is. Now, why would you want something like this compared to that? They're the same thing, right? Well, that's true. But this one has a shorter handle with a D-ring on the end for much more ergonomic use, because you're going to be like this instead of like this the whole time, so it's a little more ergonomic on your shoulder. But this allows me to turn this entire 20 feet of mulch in about 10 minutes by myself, because it allows me to grab much more bulk all at once. That's more than twice the amount that I grabbed with the mulch fork, which is made for this. So if you have a lot of mulch to move around, this is something you definitely want to get. You got a lot of hay, a lot of straw. You want something big and strong like this. You want a big fork, wide tines. What's the last tool over here? Well, this is nothing more than a very unfancy rake. That's all it is. Which kind is it specifically? I actually forgot. This just says a bow rake. This is a bow rake. Nothing fancy. It's actually got a forged head, so this is all one piece. This whole head is one piece of metal. Unlike those other two, they're welded. Now what is this for? Well, this is the last thing I use after I flip the entire mulch pile, because I need to even it out so that there aren't a bunch of lumps where I can get bugs coming in. This is very easy. See all you can do? Just kind of slap it. All you're doing is kind of slapping it. And this aerates it. This aerates all of the mulch. Gets all of the bugs moving around, all the mulch moving around. And it makes it so much easier to just move. Move. Move it. It's so much easier. So much easier. And this will allow me, once I flip all of this, to make it a little bit more level and they're easier to maintain, because I can also come on the sides, pull the sides up much more easily when I'm ready to flip, and I can incorporate this side into the middle. When I'm ready to flip, now I can ensure everything on the sides to the middle gets flipped easily and effectively. Now, out of all of these, this is the workhorse. And why? It's the biggest. That's why. Simply put, it's the biggest. It allows me to do the most work in the shortest amount of time. Because every day, day and a half, this stuff is extremely compacted. I mean, just right down here, it's stiff. It's tough. You get chunks like that have to be broken up. And that's what this allows you to do real easily. That's what this handle's for. It allows you to pull it back, boom, flip. Now, it sounds like a lot of work, and it is, but again, I can't get anything better, and this was practically free once I had these trees cut down. So I have to come through here every single day, or every other day. I have to turn all of it, and this is why. Because as we can see, these darker gray spots right here, that's actually all of it starting to decompose and break down entirely. It's not sand, it's not my soil, it's decomposing and breaking down. Here's a good spot, here's a good chunk of it. Oh, it's hot too, it's hot. But as we can see, this is all turning around. This is not from my sand, which is all the same color as the gray stuff here, but this is all decomposing, creating its own little ecosystem within to support all of this. Now, why do you want to use mulch in this manner? Well, as I said in the previous video, it's extremely good fertilizer. The problem with that is it's mulch. You always got to do it, which means you always have to renew it a couple times a year depending on where you live. I live in Florida and it's hot, so I will probably be replenishing my yard at least twice, if not 3 times a year, with all of this amazing mulch that we can see here. Will I continue using these tools? Yes. Will I continue using this brand? No. Do I want to use another brand? Absolutely, when I can afford it. However, these tools, all purchased from a local retailer. Actually, this one came from, I think, Lowe's, right down the road, and the shovel came from Home Depot. But I'm going to go ahead and work through this a little bit, let you guys see how easy it actually is, then we'll end the video. see, these big chunks in the middle have to get broken up. They need air so that I can slow down the decomposition process of all of this mulch. Of course, you're wondering, why do I keep cleaning it all? Well, a lot of this came from a palm tree, so I got a ton of palm scrap. This is palm fiber that comes in between all of the branches that grow. See, we can see where it comes from right here. It's part of the branch when it grows. It's part of the shell of the branch, just fiber. So all this stuff just gets stuck in there. You gotta clean it out every once in a while, but it's not very hard to do all this. It's very easy, it's very doable. If you have the time and the energy, do it yourself. Because it's quite the workout. Especially when you're picking up 10, ooh, as a root, 15 pounds at a time, about 100, 150 times on this. You get pretty strong pretty quick. That's why farm boys don't work out. Don't need to. Your job is working out. Now if you see what I'm doing as I'm going through here, I know it doesn't look like I'm doing anything at all, but I am. Lots of bugs down there. Because of the way this is set up, I have to hit the middle of the pile first. This is where the bulk is. It's where the toughest parts of all this mulch are. And then come in at the bottom. I try not to pierce the ground and try to get the side and the bottom turned in as well. So now this is done for the day. So what I'll do is I will then come through, aerate a little bit more, try to even some of this out. And this motion that I'm making is simply just a hacking motion. So all I'm doing is slapping and pulling. So all I'm doing is slapping and pulling and then kind of like bouncing it. This makes it a lot easier to get it all moving without having to expend a ton of energy.